Welcome to Belonging at the Top, driving performance through people, the podcast where leadership gets real and people come first. Your hosts are Dr. Natalie Parks, psychologist, behavior analyst, best-selling author, and your go-to expert for dismantling systems of injustice while building equitable, high-performing teams. And Anthony Butler, leadership coach, thought leader, speaker, and master of helping leaders unlock their team's full potential, one breakthrough at a time. Together, they're here to tackle your toughest leadership challenges with just the right mix of science, strategy, and a sprinkle of humor. In this episode, we discuss the impact of AI on workplace culture. Natalie and Anthony focus on the importance of maintaining a human-first approach, regardless of how an organization implements artificial intelligence tools in their processes.
Welcome to another episode of Belonging at the Top, Season 2. Natalie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I am well. Looking forward to our discussion today. It's kind of ironic for me, though. So, folks, we decided to talk about AI, specifically how to create cultures of belonging in an AI world, right? How do we do that? And I say it's ironic because we rely heavily on AI to produce this podcast.
Absolutely. Very heavily.
Very heavily. It can't replace our conversation, as Natalie pointed out before we were doing our pre-production work, but still, a lot of the final product, especially if you are consuming your podcast visually and you're watching this on YouTube right now, then most of the visuals you see are we've used some kind of AI tool to help create. We definitely didn't hand draw any logos. All those are AI influenced. A little behind the scene here, like we're watching The Wiz, not The Wizard of Oz, but The Wiz. But more behind the scenes content is that even our moderator, our MC, is an AI voice. That's not Natalie's voice. It's not my voice. We didn't hire someone to do a voiceover for us. We created a script, put it through an AI platform, and that's what you get. And we like it. It works. And most of you all didn't know. But it's just the two of us. Natalie and I have been working together, knowing each other socially and professionally now for a couple decades. I ain't gonna say exactly how long. Some of you already know anyway. But so we don't need that assistance with creating a culture of belonging. We already have that strong, high level of psychological safety with each other. But Natalie, what do you think is a struggle then for a couple, well, not a couple, but a company that does have a lot of people who don't know each other, who are relying on AI? What are the pain points for a leader who wants to stay ahead of the curve, wants to be progressive, wants to be competitive, and feels like AI is the way to do it, but also wants to make sure that he's got the people to, run the organization?
So I think one of the big things right now, and whether people recognize it or not, we've been using AI for a very, very long time. We've just now entered maybe a new phase where AI is really starting to take hold in areas that we didn't see AI before, right? In writing and being a thought partner and all of these other things. And we are finding that some people are embracing it and super excited about it. Other people are trying to put it to bed and not ever use AI. But I think the real thing is that the question should be like, what problem is AI solving, right? And so if I'm a leader and I'm interested in AI and want to improve my business or my team using AI, it's really an efficiency thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's important because when you and I were entering the workforce, we entered the workforce during a time where efficiency, being able to do the best work in the least amount of time, has been very highly reinforced. That was the thing to do. And I think that's where a lot of the fear is coming from, is like, will I be replaced? Because now there's a robot who is more efficient than I am. And that creates panic within a culture, right? Like it's hard to feel like I belong if I'm worried that when this AI tool gets implemented, or if my boss learns about this really cool AI thing, that I'm going to be replaced. And so I think part of it is, as a leader, we have to focus on what is the use for AI and where do we still need people. And one thing I know is that AI is never going to replace the human connection. It's never going to replace the human creativity. It's never going to replace those things about us that make us very human. It will allow us to be more productive, more efficient, all of those things, if you know how to use it right. And so I think as a leader, the first things first is you need to start leaning more into the human connection.
If you've been a listener of the show throughout season 1 up to now, it's not a new theme, right? I think that's the whole point about creating a culture of belonging. It is that human connection, putting humans first, making sure people understand their value and feel valued and have that high degree of psychological safety in your work, on your team, in your space, wherever you operate. And I think, especially for those of us of a certain generation, we came up in the 80s and we're looking at Terminator and we see Skynet and we thought that was completely unbelievable. There's no way that can happen. Now I'm like, it's kind of here.
Right.
We're at the beginning phases of Skynet. And that's what I think the fear comes from that, especially for those of us who either you grew up during that time, you're a child of the 80s, or you at least somehow you're a movie buff. I mean, it's here, it's now. But to your point, when obviously I'm a little bit older than you. When I entered the workforce, we were still using dial-up for internet at home. People were happy to get an email address on a business card. Not every organization had email even. Fax was still very prevalent. You were communicating by phone and fax. And not a lot of PDFs. Folks, what's a PDF? Nobody knew what a PDF was. You were still trying to figure out how to attach a Word document. And so to see that progression over a couple decades to get to the point now where like Skynet looks really feasible and possible, I think that's part of it for a large portion of the workforce who's like, no, I see where this is going and I don't like it. And even on social media platforms now, you can see the prevalence of the use of AI. And I think people, to your point about having the human connection and what we can't replace, is still that being authentic. And I think you'll see, and you do see now on social media and different platforms where you see a video and first thing people say is, oh, well, that's AI. And they've already discounted whatever the content is.
Yep.
Because it's so AI intense that it doesn't seem authentic. It doesn't seem real, and it's losing some credibility. So I think for leaders, that's another thing to kind of latch onto. Is not only is it maintaining that human connection, it's maintaining some authenticity with your staff and with your customers so that you can create that psychological safety. And I think there'll be a point when even your customer base will want authentic experiences over AI generated products and content, et cetera.
Right. I think in even thinking about leadership, and no matter what level of leader you are, what kind of company you are leading, I think in general, we have seen culture lean into, even during COVID, we don't need to be together. We are all good at home on video, what have you. And we have talked a lot about kind of the mental health issues that arose for many people. And I think what we're realizing now as we all are getting back to work in various ways and forms, and a lot of us are doing more hybrid stuff. Both you and I, we do a lot of stuff over video, but not always. But when we do end up in the same city, we do our best to try and be together. Usually it's my sickness and kids that keep me away. But we still want that human connection. Mm-hmm. And I think, to your point, we are starting to notice the patterns of AI, right? We see the computer generated text. We see the giveaways that let you know that it's computer generated, that it's AI generated. And yes, those things will get better and better and better, but also AI is always going to be an algorithm. It's always going to look for patterns and try to get better based on those patterns. You are never going to be able to connect with AI, with a computer, in the same way that you can with a human. Right. And biologically, we are social beings. As much as we don't want to say it, people need other people to survive. They need other people to be mentally healthy. And we need other people to be creative and productive.
And I think that's a well-established fact. I mean, if you look at the centuries-old concept in the criminal justice system, that's why putting someone in isolation is a punishment, because you don't have that human connection. And it's why societies thrive, is because of that human connection. It's not a foreign concept. People get it. And that's what we were feeling in COVID. It's like, not only could you not connect with other people, you were being forced to stay at home without inviting public criticism and or, prosecution, depending on where you were and what the restrictions were about being outside your home in a public space. So I think that we get it as humans. And I think sometimes we just don't make that, especially in the work context, we don't make that connection that even though it's work and you get paid to do a thing for a person for an agreed upon amount, right? Whatever your wage is, there's still that human connection that we desire and that we innately need. That if you're a leader and you're trying to balance staying competitive, being in the industry, being at the forefront of trends in your industry, and which means adopting more AI tools, you've got to be more intentional about creating those moments, that engagement, whether it be social or a team building, whatever it is, with your staff and with your coworkers and the humans you work with, to make sure you maintain, well, not only maintain, but foster, because some of us still need to generate it, right? So even though we're talking about AI, we know there are some leaders who still haven't even grasped the concept of belonging. Not even they get AI and they love it, but they're still having trouble grasping the concept of belonging. And so I think that's the trick for leaders who are intentional. I'll take it a different way. Even if you care less about your people, but you care about your company, you need to grasp both AI and belonging, because that's going to make your team more productive. So there's a way to do it what doesn't seem insincere or fake or disingenuous, but I think it's something that as a business imperative that it's depending on the industry you are in, and probably almost every industry. I can't think of any industry that's really not affected by AI in some way, because everything, whether it's from design, like you said earlier, being a thought partner, or using your AI chat agent as a way to help you find more time in your day. We're all using it in some kind of way. And even those who are saying, no, I don't, you've got Alexa, you're using Google Home, right? You're watching.
You have a smartphone.
Exactly. You have a smartphone. You're using AI, maybe in a limited capacity. You maybe not have completely gone to the whole Claude Perplexities and the open AI tools yet, but it's coming. And it's already here for a lot of folks, and people who aren't grasping and are seeing the difference. But we'll see the difference soon. But
right,
human first. I think that's, again, if we want to be consistent, our messaging and our theme and what we discuss, I think that's the key for leaders who are challenged with dealing with managing or incorporating AI, and you still want to make sure you have a team who actually help you with your business. You got to be able to do both.
One of the things that I hear from so many highly productive, really good, strong leaders is that they don't have enough time to connect with people that they want, right? We think about those of us who have had pretty large teams and the overwhelm that immediately comes as soon as we think of having like a one-on-one. I mean, think about those companies that do yearly evaluations. I won't tell you why those are horrible, but they are horrible, and everyone dreads them. But part of the reason that everyone dreads them is, one, they take a lot of time. I have to meet one-on-one with every single person on my team, and I have to give them information that, quite frankly, I'm not really sure if it's totally accurate, because right. I don't really know you, because I don't have enough time to connect with you one-on-one. And so if we think about where is the place for AI, or where can a place for AI be, figure out how to use AI to make those things that can have increased efficiency better. Yep. And then use your free time now to connect with people more. I cannot tell you how many people that I hear who are in maybe mid-level management or even entry-level positions who will say that like their boss's boss knows their name or came by and said hello. And it's not that they recognize the work they're doing. It's not any of that. It's just the fact that they know them. And that signals to them that they have done something valuable for the company and that the company values their work. Yep. And I think that just goes back to the human connection, right? Like, yeah, you could find a message in AI and it could send it out and maybe make somebody feel good. But walking by somebody's desk, or even when you log on to a Zoom meeting with 20 people and being able to say hello to each of them or know something about them, that is that human connection that really makes a difference. It makes people want to work harder. It makes people believe in what they're doing more. It makes them feel valued. And quite frankly, as much as people don't like to talk about it in more recent years, having a team that is mentally healthy will make your team more efficient and effective. They're not stressed. They're not worried about other things. Mm-hmm. Mental health is tied to physical health. And so you will also have people who are calling in sick less, right. All of those things. And so while I think for so long we have said like, oh, pish posh, these soft skills or these human connection, blah, 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 all we want to do is work, work, work. And we are in a very individualistic society. I think we are actually, with the push of AI, we're starting to realize that that's not everything, and that the human connection is actually one of the most important things.
It is. And even using your example of, the boss's boss knows who I am, so I must be doing good. I think it's even a more basic level to that. It's just being acknowledged and being seen, right? Mm-hmm. So the example I like to use is, like, if you're walking with the leader of the company and they can speak to the support staff, the janitorial staff, the custodial staff, and know their names and know something about them and have an engagement and they actually recognize them and engage them. I think especially if they do that in public with other people around, right. But especially if they do it one-on-one, that's probably a good culture to be in, because they see those people. They don't just walk by them. They don't just see them as part of the landscape, right? That they acknowledge right. And see them. I think there's still, and you'll find even then that you'll find people who are like, they will stay in that service type job for whatever their skill set is and be happy with it because they feel seen at that organization, right? And I think those are the keys to success for leaders who can adopt that. And I think it does, no matter what level. So my point, I'm saying is, no matter what level you are in the organization, when you're seen by other people and those who are deemed to be at the top can demonstrate that and display that and lead by example, I think the entire culture feels it, and that's the difference. And it's interesting because we're talking about it now. And if you're listening now and you have been on the other end of a layoff because of AI, it's kind of hard to feel like this is a good episode for you, right? Because you're still dealing with that. It's a horrible job market right now. Everybody knows it. Horrible job market.
It's a very bad job market.
I still think there's value in what we do, because even if there is AI, somebody needs to review the AI. Somebody needs to make sure that you're doing it. So I think we've both been in restaurants where the servers are being replaced by robots who are literally delivering the food, but somebody still needs to make sure that it's there, it's the right order. So there's still some quality control that needs to occur that only humans can do, right? And I think only humans can do. I think where we're seeing AI advance more is about the thoughts, right? The thinking side of it, right? So I think there's still things that AI can't build your house, can't fix your car. It can drive your car.
It can fix your car, kind of.
But somebody still needs to kind of be there, right? There's still some stuff. And it can build your car, right? It can build your car, but you don't see too many repair shops using AI to do a tune-up. I mean, it'll assist in the tune-up process, but you still need somebody to actually put the spark plugs in the car.
Put the things on.
Exactly. We've seen that. Automation's been around forever. So if automation is AI, we just didn't call it that now, right? So I think it was, so we've been through manufacturing that gets enhanced, not just because it's a machine that's automated, but now it's a machine that's automated with the computer brain that's thinking and telling it how to adjust and make corrections on the fly. So it's getting more of that, but you still need humans around to kind of operate that stuff. Again, if you're going to be a conspiracy theorist and go back to my Skynet or Matrix, we don't want to be the slaves that are running the machines, because the machines are running us, but they still need us to survive because we got to do something in the physical environment that they can't do. But that's a whole other episode. You can join me on one of my nerd platforms and we can talk about all that stuff there.
There you go.
But I think that's one of those things, though, right? So, there are some industries that are probably being hit more. Definitely on the creative space. If you're doing anything in content design, whether it be copy editing, copywriting, video editing, production, yes, there are tons of tools out there right now, and we're guilty. We do the same thing. It's still based on what we input, but when I say we, I mean this podcast. We use a lot of those tools to help us generate the content that you are consuming right now.
Right. I want to go back to one of the things that you said about leaders walking around, and if you're walking with somebody and you watch that leader speak to every single person in the organization. I want to just go back to it because I think it's one of probably the most important things about belonging. And maybe it struck me because I spend a lot of time making sure that I talk to people just out in public the same way, no matter who they are, where I see them, whatever, to provide an example to my daughters that people are just people. And it doesn't matter your position. It doesn't matter your education or your ranking or your wealth or your whatever. People are people. And at the end of the day, people want to be recognized, acknowledged, and valued. And there is something as simple as if you see somebody, and I'm going to take it out of the workforce for a minute, but you see somebody when you're walking around in whatever store you want to walk around in, and they're looking a certain type of way. It's pretty obvious that they're not happy. Maybe they're just looking sad or down or what have you. And you say something as simple as like, wow, I really like the color of your shirt. All of a sudden they light up, right? All of a sudden you have changed their day in a very valuable way. Now, it might just be for a moment. It might just be for that second. They might even look at you and as if you're crazy and say thanks and walk off. If you apply that to the workforce, though, and you are walking by, and be genuine, don't just say random things just to say it. But if you really look at every single person that you walk past every single day and say something to them about them that shows them you value them, that is step one. That is going to do more for your culture than any of the other systems, efficiencies, any AI, any of that. Yep. Because people are going to start doing it with one another. They're going to follow that example, and they're going to start acknowledging each other and valuing one another just for being there.
Right. For those leaders who don't get it, and again, they're like, oh, anti-soft skills. The studies are out there that I think there's a Deloitte report I saw back in 2021. I think we referenced it last year even, that people who feel like they belong are 56% more productive than people who don't.
That's a lot of productivity.
That's a lot of productivity. And by productivity, we mean that's a lot more money, right? That's a lot more revenue. It's still business. Like
at the end of the day, there's always an ROI.
At the end of the day, and I don't want for anyone to ever think that we are forgetting what. Now, this is a business podcast, right? It's a leadership podcast, a leadership about business. Mostly, you can lead in other aspects of your life, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to make a good product, have a good team, and make some money.
If you're not making a profit, it's not a business.
And by money, I mean profit. Exactly. Because you can make money and break even, but who wants to keep
That's
doing
not
that?
Making money. It's being even. That's a hobby.
It's a hobby. Exactly. I want to be clear when we talk about all these things. It means to an end, which does not make it disingenuous. I can do both, right? I can see you as a human and value who you are and make a profit. They can coexist. And if everybody can do it and be productive and be happy and be seen, then I think that's the goal we should have as leaders.
Yes. We didn't really talk specifically about all of the things that AI can do, but I think the point was made that it can make things more efficient. You still need that human connection. Hopefully each of you have gotten a nugget to take away from today and maybe an actionable item that you can even act on today or tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this. And with that, we will just remind you that great leadership starts with belonging.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Belonging at the Top. We hope it sparked new ideas for fostering belonging in your leadership journey. If you found it insightful, please like and subscribe to our podcast for more thought-provoking discussions. We'd also love it if you could share it with others who might benefit from the conversation. If you have any feedback or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please email us or drop us a note on Instagram or LinkedIn.